Canon Powershot S90?
Well, the S90 is a little powerhouse, I think, because it's got a lot of the features that the G11 has in a smaller package.
Oh, yeah. If this pocket was open, I would imagine it would slide right in there.
It would.
Yeah, I mean, it's like that is a really compact little camera.
It's a real world feature. I mean, a lot of people put their camera in their front pocket, right?
Or women put it in their purses,
they do.
Their evening bags.
And it fits, and it's not something that you're going to notice that it's there.
Right.
But when I say this is a powerhouse, you've got everything from completely automatic, right?
Okay.
Which is perfect for a lot of people. They want to have to think about it.
Can it be used in manual mode?
Absolutely. That's the beauty of this camera. You can use this camera in any one of these modes. So you have a program mode, which is automatic exposure. You have TV mode, which allows you to set the shutter speed the camera chooses a matching aperture. You have AV mode, which you choose an aperture and it chooses a matching shutter speed. And then, of course, you have completely manual.
Okay.
All right, so you've got all these things built into this camera.
I see that. I'm kind of reading over here. What is a ring function?
Well, this camera is kind of cool that you've got this little ring that dials on the front. Now, you can take this ring and program it to do a whole host of things.
Okay.
From changing your apertures or shutter speeds. You could set white balance with this. You can zoom with this. You could even focus with this manually if you wanted to.
So it's a manual function?
It's not just a manual function, but it has other functions. You could set exposure compensation with this, but all different things that you could do to program this dial to behave the way you want it to.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's like a quick setting kind of feature.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Great.
So it's taking a different function so you don't have as many buttons, but you have kind of more of an old camera feel where you've got that ring on the front of the lens. And a lot of people like that, so that's really nice. You do have a pop-up flash right here, which, why don't we turn the camera on and we'll see how that works. And if we just set this camera to go on, and flash pops up or comes down, as you see right there. So
flash always fires.
It will.
That's what it says right there.
It does. Now, you could have it set for automatic flash, which means it'll only use it when it feels it needs flash. Or you could have it set to go off every single time.
And how would you say how easy it is to use the menu and the sub-menu of
well,
this
like all the
camera?
Canon cameras, the menu system is one of the most beautiful things about the camera. It's so easy to navigate. And one of the coolest things about the menu system is it has this thing called hints and tips. Right?
Okay.
So if you're going through and you're not sure what a particular item is in the menu, it will give you on the bottom of the screen, it'll tell you what that does.
Okay.
So it helps you along. You don't necessarily have to read the manual from cover to cover.
It's like a little tutorial as you go.
Exactly.
That's great. This is the clarity on these pictures on this.
It's amazing. The screen is beautiful. It's a 460,000 dot screen. All right, the S90 has a 10 megapixel high sensitivity sensor. What's that mean for the user? Well, it means that the pixels that are in this camera are larger than what we would have expected on a camera, say, like the G10, which was 14.7 megapixels. We want larger pixels, and what that means, a larger pixel gives you more sensitivity to light, which means less digital noise, or grain, which some people refer to. So that's really important, and you're going to get superior image quality with that. Now, the other half of that is that this camera has a 2.0 lens on it. That's the speed of the lens. In other words, I can photograph in extreme low light with this lens and get really good results. That in combination with the high sensitivity sensor that offers an ISO up to 3200 ISO, you could shoot outside at night or low candlelight and get really incredible pictures.
That's, I mean, an F2 is very
low. It's right now, that's the fastest lens that we have on any of the Powershot cameras available right now.
Okay.
But to sum it up, this camera is a phenomenal piece of equipment for you know what it is, and the size it is.
I love how little it is.
Yeah.
You know, some things are great small.
Some things.
Some things.
So.
I'm Deanna from PhotoAmerica.tv, and this is Cliff Hausner. He's a professional photographer in New York City for the last 25 years. We're talking about the Canon Powershot S90, very hot item for this holiday season.
It is a pretty full-featured point and shoot camera.
Yeah, I think the hottest feature is the f2 feature. Why don't you just tell us about that a little bit?
In the field of photography, f2 means that the shutter speed, the aperture of the lens is a very wide aperture, which means it can shoot in very, very low light conditions. But one of the cool things about this is a very, very wide screen in the back. And
for how tiny this camera is.
Yeah, I mean, it literally almost takes up the entire back of the camera.
Great.
Did I mention before that this camera shoots raw images? Very unusual for a small point and shoot camera to shoot raw. The Canon G11 does. But that's a little bit bigger size camera. But in this size camera to shoot raw images,
right? This is a tiny little pocketable camera,
and it has manual aperture priority, shutter priority program, and then the mode I call the dummy mode. Sometimes they use me as the lowest common denominator, and that's what I use. So you basically
why is it called a dummy?
It's not really called a dummy mode. I just made that up, but it's called the dummy mode for.
Is that for people like you or for?
Yeah, I just made that up actually. It's for I wouldn't suggest that you're dumb. I just suggest that you're not a professional, at least in photography. Street walking, that's a whole different story. But you can, one of the cool things on this is that it has a feature, makes it very, very easy to review the review images coming into the back. Has a pop-up flash, and it has this control dial in the front that you can use this or set this control dial to do any one of a number of features. For example, if you do want to use it in manual mode or you want to use it in aperture priority, this allows you to do many different functions, and some of the functions being, if you have this camera in manual mode, you can then set the shutter speed or aperture using this ring.
Right.
So you don't have to have the extra dials on it that you would normally have on a regular camera. So you can still keep the camera very lightweight and portable camera, but at the same time be able to use it as though it's a professional camera with some of those same professional features.
It looks tiny in your hands.
It is. It's a small camera, but even though it's small, it does have a nice feel when I'm shooting it. So for some reason, I don't know, certain cameras, the size works for me, some doesn't.
Right.
But this one really has I like the feel of it.
Very cool looking.
And, yeah, it is cool looking. It also has video capability, and I just like it as an all-around camera. Just grabbing, pointing, shoot. This is something absolutely that I would slip in my pocket and use on a regular basis. Slipping in your pocket and having something that you could literally go out every day, no matter what you're going to do, you'd be able to do it. Good.